Hello, my name is Tawana Brown, and I serve as the Assistant Director in Parent and Family Programs. I want to thank you for joining our webinar Wednesday. Today, we will be talking about how to support your student through student engagement. And to talk about this topic today, we have Dr. Rosmore Miller. And Ros, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you for having me. I look forward to talking to you all a little bit about how to support your student through student engagement and what that looks like here on the University of Alabama's campus. And so to kind of get us started, really, when we think about student engagement, we are looking at opportunities that we have to foster an environment that supports the growth and development of your student. We really do that through emphasizing our students take active participation in intentional experiential learning opportunities. So these are opportunities where they really get to be hands-on and they get to model the knowledge and skills that they're gaining, both in things happening outside the classroom and in the classroom in real activities. And then finally, we really see this as an opportunity to both capture and leverage the affinity that our students get from being involved in experiences and in really making this space on UA's campus home. And by finding ways to further enhance their holistic development as students. And so student engagement is very important because of that, because it really ties a lot of things together in terms of what this big experience is really about and what it looks like for UA students. So to kind of delve a little bit deeper, some of the impact that our students get from being engaged is that it really does help create a space for them to find community and also connect at UA. Um, we really want you to help students understand that you're not just you're not just harping on them about the importance of meeting folks, but it really does help make the entire experience better to have both an external support system that's not here walking campus daily with them, but to also have a support system right here on campus that can kind of help them navigate challenges and opportunities that they come in contact with while they're here. It also offers the opportunity for our students to do what I consider tangible skill building. So, you know, you've probably heard people talk about transferable skills and things like that. But when I think about tangible skills, I just mean skills and opportunities that allow them to really connect and use the knowledge that they're gaining in the classroom. Finally, it does oftentimes, as a result of being involved on campus, students find a passion and it produces leadership opportunities for them. And, you know, we can't be oblivious to the economic impact that it may also have on a student in their future years to have experience and hands-on opportunities to gain knowledge in different areas and fields before they even get into their formal profession. And then obviously, we have some core values and identities here on UA's campus. And our capstone creed is really important to us and something that models kind of the behavior we want to see and the attributes we want to see out of UA students. And their engagement gives them an opportunity to interact with those different elements of our capstone creed. And finally, find and expand their understanding of themselves in relation to others, and an understanding of themselves in relation to the different organizations and systems that they're going to find themselves a part of as they go through their life journey, even once they leave UA. So the impact of those opportunities is really important. And I wanted to not just kind of talk to you all about that impact without giving you some tangible examples of things our students have done and been able to be a part of. And so this is a lot of information, but just distilling it down, we really, our students get to participate in over 60 events through our 3 weeks of welcome. And we've had 15,000 plus students or more participate in those activities over the course of their time. The other thing that it allows us to do is really focus in on providing grant opportunities for our student organizations. Our student organizations are really a huge lifeblood to campus, and through supporting engagement, we're able to support efforts to promote awareness and different perspectives on campus, but also programming. Finally, we also see that our students have an opportunity to engage in some of our biggest programming on campus, like Get On Board Day, which gives them a chance to interact with lots of different programs. And then our Center for Service and Leadership supports over 20 community partners and also hosts 2 large Saturday outreach events throughout the semester and supports our Als Pals mentoring program. So it really is an opportunity for us to continue to kind of engage students and find ways that they can connect while they're here. And so I know that one of the things that you're probably wondering is, you know, how do I help my student kind of understand involvement, and what are some tips I can give them about that process and how that might work for them, what things they should do. And so the first I would say is to anticipate. I think that our students need to find organizations and opportunities that speak to their future career goals. So they need to be anticipating what their future holds, what they might want their future to look like, and be very strategic about picking a club or organization or group that allows them to interact with that. So, as an example, you may have your student may be a engineering major, and so what we would recommend as it relates to that is to not just think about engineering as the end goal of that degree, but if they have a certain field or interest area that they want to delve into, or maybe they're not even sure yet what field or interest area is going to work for them in engineering, we would tell them seek out engineering groups and clubs and organizations that let you delve into those specific areas, because that may help you make that final decision about what aspect of engineering you want to go into. And so, in addition to that, it's going to connect you to knowledge and information related to that profession. And so, we really want our students to kind of anticipate what they hope their future holds so that they can make very strategic selections about their involvement from the front. The second is advocate. And when we talk about advocation, we want them to advocate for themselves through self-care. It is very important that students have a variety of different outlets for themselves while they're navigating the college experience. And some of the ways that we've seen our students be successful in navigating that is through their involvement. So it could be as simple as you have a student that was really into dance, or they were into some other hobby or thing when they were in high school, and that thing has really been a part of their lives. But college is different. They may want to turn over a new leaf and do some different things, or they may themselves have been a dancer and decided not to continue that as in a full-term way in college. We advocate that they find something like that that really grounds them to who they are and supports their core values as a human, and connect to that. Maybe it's just they're really passionate about environmental things, but they're not going into environmental programs as a degree or future career. So we would advocate that these are the types of things that help our students um, exercise and practice self-care. So we would tell them to find one of those things to connect to. And the last way that we would tell them to connect is to add. So when I say add, I don't mean add like 400 things, because I do think there's a balance. I think there's a balance of having too little and having too much. But we would advocate for a student to add something that helps them think outside their box, or something that they feel would add value to themselves. So when I say thinking outside the box, I'm thinking of maybe there's something that has piqued their interest, may not be tied to their major, may not be tied to something that they're already good at or something that they're already passionate about, but piques an interest. I would encourage a student to do that thing, to seek out that club, seek out that opportunity, whatever it might be. On the adverse side of that, I would also advocate for a student to find something that adds value. And when I say adds value, what I mean there is perhaps you have a student who has not traditionally been good at public speaking. And maybe there's a student organization or an opportunity that's really focused on the art of public speaking. I would encourage a student to do that thing because ultimately, something that they were not good at, if they get better at that thing, that is going to add value to them and their experience. And there are future opportunities when they leave UA. So really those three things are kind of the core things. And it's not a mistake that we say three things. Really, we have done research and found that there's is a little bit of a sweet spot when it comes to engagement. And we found that our students that really narrow in their engagement to a core three things or four things really are can likely be more successful than somebody who has 12 or more successful than someone that has a one or two. And so it's just finding that balance. All of our students are different. There's always an exception to that rule, but as a general practice, we really encourage our students to be really intentional about their involvement so they can give their best to everything that they're a part of and get the most out of it. So, I know that that makes it sound so simple and it doesn't really highlight maybe some of the challenges that students may face in navigating involvement, particularly on a large campus like UA. And so, one of the ways that I wanted to talk about this with you all, just to kind of give you some language or give you some opportunities that you can have with your student, is to think about what if that process of getting involved, getting engaged is rocky. So the first thing that I would mention for students is to not try to figure that out alone. Our student engagement unit actually encompasses multiple departments, and all of those departments have a different, unique way that they address that overall mission of student engagement. And so we've got lots of opportunities and ways to connect students. And so what I would encourage you to do is, whether sneakily or directly, help your student get connected to someone or a resource so that they're not trying to figure that out alone. The other thing that I think you could do with the student is similar to academic goals. I'm sure many of our students have kind of set an academic goal for themselves for the upcoming year, or a standard of how they want to kind of do their academic work. We would encourage you to talk with your student about also setting maybe an event attendance goal or an involvement engagement goal for their semester. So it could be as simple as saying to your student, hey, I want you to find one thing a week that you're going to go to, that you're going to ask a friend to do with you, that you're going to research about ways that you can connect. So it may not even be going out to the thing, but help them set some type of event or attendance goal that really focuses around their engagement. Be very intentional about that. And then finally, just kind of start with the basics. We have resources within the Office of Student Involvement, within all of our other unit areas that are part of the bigger student engagement picture. And when I say start with the basics, I think that's really it. Just kind of start there. And to think about the basics with student involvement, I wanted to kind of share these four things that I thought are really, really kind of key and can be helpful to students early on if they're trying to get connected. First, we do have an involvement quiz. It's located at thesource.ua.edu. When they take that quiz, the quiz itself will offer suggestions to them based on how they fill out the quiz. But when they take that quiz, it also prompts us that they've taken it. And so oftentimes someone from our office will reach out to students who have taken the quiz and just kind of follow up to see if they have other questions, if they got the questions that they want to answer through the quiz, or do they need more detail. And so it kind of opens that door for them in a less direct way if you have a student that's really shy or they feel embarrassed about making that ask. And so that's a great resource. The other thing is to browse the MySource website. We have 600 plus student organizations, so that is a really big piece of pie to ingest. So we encourage people to to cut that up in chunks and not try to ingest at one time. And so when they go to browse on UA's My Source page, they can actually distill down a lot of the groups and organizations that we have by categories or by interest areas. And so it's another great way to kind of get them connected to something. The last thing is meet with an involvement genius. Um, these are actually trained students that will sit down with your student and kind of just walk them through, ask critical questions to kind of help determine what might be a good course of action for that student. Those students will also attend a meeting with the student if the schedules align and they're able to, just to kind of cut down on that angst that happens when you're new or when you walk into a room cold and you don't know anybody. And so we really try to be intentional about that program and make it fit the need of the student. And so if it's something our involvement geniuses are able to do to help the student kind of make that next step, then we oftentimes will try to find a way to make that happen. And finally, again, I think it definitely is a point of having your student kind of think outside the box in terms of major events and programs. It's so much easier actually to go into a really big event. So if I were a student and I hadn't been to anything yet, I might try going to a really large event first before going to that 20-person meeting where I don't know anybody, because you really can blend in and possibly have an opportunity to connect to some knowledge or information or bump into someone that you know and realize that you have similar interests to kind of cut down on that strain of it being of it possibly being awkward. And so we really encourage students to attend those major events so that they can have an opportunity to kind of look at a broader picture. So those are just some tips that I think are very helpful, things that you can help your student do and align with. I wanted to point out a couple of really key areas because I also think that they can be very helpful. Our university programs office does regular weekly programming. And one of the things that you could do is also have your student connect with UP, find their social media handles and see what they have going on, because they do both large, small, medium-sized events on a variety and range of topics that I think students would really enjoy. And then lastly, we do have service initiatives that can be that students can find through our Bama Pulse system. Every UA student has a Bama Pulse account, and this is a system where they can both find ways to serve our UA community locally that have been vetted and that are well organized, or they can register for different service events that are happening and find ways to connect like that. And so another great way to kind of help your student find some ways to connect. And the thing I love about these connection opportunities is they are twofold, and probably even more than twofold, but definitely twofold, in that our students both get to do something that is intrinsically fulfilling for them, but they also give back to a community that they are now a part of in a really awesome way. So I would encourage that as well. So finally, just want to reiterate that there are lots of benefits to involvement that I think are super important, and benefits to getting engaged and connected, and really helping our students kind of navigate that opportunity is something that we are really passionate about. And so as push comes to shove, really the bottom line is, if you need help or your student needs help, reach out to us directly and we will help connect them. We will meet with them. We will sit down, have one-on-one conversation with them, and get to the bottom of how we can make this experience effective for them. And just, seeing the different opportunities and benefits of it helps, really is why we're trying to sell to you, to be our advocates in this process and help us connect your students if they are not already connected. So I did want to talk a little bit about something that we are kind of launching and working towards here at UA that really focuses on engagement. And it's essentially our record of engagement and learning. There are many campuses that already have these, but For UA, this is really going to add value on top of value that already exists here, in that we will also be helping our students connect the different experiences that they are having to what we call our record of engagement and learning. And this record is a comprehensive reflection of the students' transformative engagement and learning experiences while they're at UA. And so that's every event or program that they attended where skill and learning was happening. That is every leadership position that they've held, every student org officer role that they've had, really kind of coupled into one record. And this record is going to allow them to really speak to the experiential side of their experience at UA along with the academic side. It's really going to make our students be more employable, be more ready for graduate education, and really anything that they encounter outside the classroom, because we will be able to see how their knowledge has been growing from their academics to the experiences and opportunities that they get to be a part of. And we will be able to see how this experience has impacted them overall over the course of their entire academic experience. And so we are calling them engagement waves, kind of the buckets in which we will be collecting this knowledge from our students. And so those buckets are global and intercultural learning, leadership development, experiential learning, which is basically kind of talking about those hands-on learning experiences, community service and engagement, meaning our philanthropic and both community active work that we're doing, and then holistic development, which really speaks to the wellness side of things. And so as our students have varying experiences that fit into those buckets, we are going to start kind of collecting that in a way that allows them to have a record of that. This record will be very dynamic in that it will be descriptive so that students can kind of take the mystery away from the unique experiences that they're having here, and employers outside of UA or graduate schools outside of UA will read a title or a program that the student's been a part of and be able to know and understand the depth of that experience and what that has added to the student in terms of their value as someone that may be joining their community. And so they'll be able to do this stuff with this learning and engagement record. And so we are in the process of getting that formed. Most of our students will likely have access to their record at some point during the fall semester, but we're already kind of behind the scenes helping track and record the different experiences that they're having and on campus to be able to report that back to them later through this dynamic record, because it will look like an official document, sort of what you see in an academic transcript, but will be primarily for their engagement and learning experiences. And so we're super excited about that. These are the 5 engagement waves, as I've mentioned before, and we will probably be back to you all at some point later to have a more in-depth conversation about what that looks like and how students will connect with it. But we did want to kind of preview that for you and let you know that it is something that's coming down the pipe and we are launching. And so we're super excited about the opportunity for that. And so overall, if you take nothing else away from this opportunity and experience today, we just want you to know that we are here to help and connect your student. And we're here to support whatever engagement goals they have, or what engagement goals you have for them, because this is a group's experience for them being a student at the University of Alabama, and you all are super critical to their success as well. So we want you to be fully resourced to know what you can do to help them better engage, and we hope that you'll reach out to us directly. As I mentioned previously, we are really encompassed of 5 unit areas: the UA Student Center, our University Programs Office, the Office of Student Involvement, the Center for Service and Leadership, and our Student Government Association are a part of this engagement team, and we're all here to help your students. And so if any of those struck a bell, those are things that your student might be interested in or you've heard them talk about, we hope that you'll continue to encourage them to connect to those areas. And thank you so much for your time today.
So thank you again, Roz. We appreciate you talking about engagement with how parents can help their students get engaged.
Sure.
Please tune in to our webinar Wednesday next week. We will have Dr. Tody Perez, who will be talking about overarching wellness. And so that'll be a great topic as well. And so thank you again for tuning in, and roll tide.
Roll Tide.